Hey guys, it's Mr. Jack000 here, back with Automation, the car company tycoon game in the most powerful engine series. We're going to be building the most powerful, naturally aspirated V engines in this game as of right now. Instead of showing you each and every engine in separate videos of this category, I decided to put them all in one because the tuning for these engines are surprisingly similar to one another. I'll start off from the V6 all the way up to the V16, and in the second half of the video, I'll give you a here of each of these engines. If you want to find a particular engine you're looking for, check the description for the timestamps or with the new YouTube chapter system on the video's time bar. So now, let's start off with the old V6 engine. So first of all, you bring the year up to the year of 2020 for every single engine to get the most performance, reliability, and everything. And starting off with the engines, it's going to be a V60 degree V6 engine bed of whatever block material you want. And do set the bore and stroke off to 120 millimeters to get the V6 engine at 8,143 cubic centimeters, around 8.1 liters, with dual overhead cam 5 valves made out of whatever head material you want. For the crank, con rods, and pistons, you probably know the drill about this one. Billet steel crankshaft with lightweight titanium con rods and lightweight forged pistons, and do set the quality to plus 15 for everything and for every engine to get the most performance, reliability, everything. For the compression, you're going to set this at an extreme 14.5 to 1 ratio with the cam profile set all the way up to 100 and VVT at all cams. And skipping over the turbocharger right here, no turbos whatsoever. For the fuel system, you probably know the drill about this one, a direct injection throttle per cylinder race intake running on ultimate fuel with the fuel mixer set to a 12.0 right on the mark. And the ignition timing set to a 95 and the RPM limit set to 9,200 RPM. And last but not least, for the exhaust. For the headers, we're going to be using some race tubular headers of dual exhaust, with this engine's exhaust diameter set to 88.9 millimeters, which equals to 3.5 inches, and no cats, no buffers, bring the quality up, and we get the V6 engine with its power rating at 1,094 horsepower at 9,200 RPM, the torque at 746.9 pounds-feet of torque at 6,800 RPM. And of course, there is no knocking, no valve whatsoever, but with the reliability issues, pistons and con rods are at its last straw as you bring this up to a 9,300 RPM, this wouldn't work whatsoever. So now, let's head on over to the V8 engine. For the V8 engine, everything is the same, but instead, changes to a V90 degree angle with the V8 engine because we have to change up the crankshaft on this engine. So assuming everything is the same and the displacement at 10,850 cubic centimeters or around 10.8 liters, and going on to the crankshaft, change this to a billet steel flat plane crankshaft to get a little bit extra horsepower. This one is kind of interesting. Compression, cam profile, everything is the same. No turbos again. Same thing for the fuel system, ignition timing, fuel mixture, RPM, all that good stuff. But for the exhaust, especially for the diameter of the exhaust, change this up to an 88.9 to 102 millimeters to get it to 4 inches. And you will get the power rating here of 1,459.5 horsepower at 9,200 RPM, the torque at 1,002.9 pounds-feet of torque at 6,400 RPM. And if you would have kept this at a regular billet steel crankshaft, you would lose a little bit of horsepower at 1,456, but flat plane, it brings up by a little bit, which is kind of an interesting find of this one. So for the third engine, let's go on over to the V10. Staying at the 90 degree configuration, changes up to a V10 engine, and we do get some crankshaft issues. It sucks. Oh, that's because it went from a cast iron because flat planes don't exist for a V10 in this game, so it changes up to billet steel once you do so. And again, everything's the same here, fuel system here, and for the exhaust, you bring this up to 121 millimeters, which gets it to 4.75 inches, which you will get the power rating here of 1,823.3 horsepower, and a torque at 1,245 pounds-feet of torque. And if you were to increase this by a little bit, as you see at the torque here, you're going to lose a little bit of torque here. From 1235, from a 5-inch exhaust to around 1235 in torque, a 4.75 around 1245. So it's pretty much important to get the right exhaust size for the right amount of power and torque for pretty much everything. Now for the V12, you change this up to the V60 degree option here and change this up to a V12 engine. And like for everything, everything's the same, exhaust again. You just click this up by 1 bit to get a 5-inch exhaust to the power rating of 2,188 horsepower and the torque at 1,494.1 pounds-feet of torque. There's really nothing else to say about this, but if you increase this by 5.25, you're going to reduce the power curve right here and increase a little bit of the weight and reduce the performance index. So don't do this, kids. 5-inch exhaust, good enough. And last but not least, for the V16 engine, which requires a paid DLC in the Automation Steam store. I think it's around $10 for the DLC, which I think that's how much it costs. And again, everything the same here. Internals are the same, top end's the same, aspiration's always been the same, fuel system, and the exhaust. Up this up for the exhaust diameter to 152 millimeters, which gets it to around 6 inches. And for the power, we get it up to 2,917.4 horsepower, and the torque at 1,992.4 pounds-feet of torque. And it's kind of interesting for the finding of all these engines. This is pretty much the master tune here. With this level of compression, cam profile, the fuel system, everything. This is interesting. Okay, for this portion of the video, I'm going to give you a hear of what these engines sound like, starting from the V6 all the way up to the V16. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play around with it in the manual testing mode, and cycle through all the graphs here, starting from the power and torque, torque and efficiency, and power and efficiency for all of them. And I'll briefly get you guys a look at the engines that are stripped here to see what it's like revving at a high RPM. So now, here's what this V6 engine sounds like. No matter if it's a V6 or a 16, it's powerful and it sounds hellish. So that'll do it with Automation, the car company tycoon game with these powerful V engines. I knew that I was going to run into something like this, where everything is the same except for the exhaust. For the last of the 2 engines in the game, which are the box of 4 and 6 engines, I'll probably use this format again as the tuning is very similar to one another. If not, there'll be separate videos like the usual within this series. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future, including my automation and BeamNG Drive videos too. So this has been Mr. Dragon 000. I'll see ya in the next video.